So think of these little gestures, right? That have nothing to do with the story that you can make a character just do in the moment that then reveals something about who they are and what they want at that moment. Okay. Next, you got characters' voice and dialogue. We talked a little bit about this last week when we talked about voice, but basically, when you've got dialogue, you should just always make it reveal character. Let people talk or narrate in ways that stand out, that reveal personality traits. So dialogue should not only reveal the character of the speaker who's speaking it, but it should also just sound, I don't know, not you don't want everyone just talking the way that we talk in real life. Like if this lecture was made into written dialogue, it would be excruciatingly awful, even more awful than it already is, because of all my stutters and all that stuff, and it's not structured. Finding dialogue, there's a balance, I think, between naturalistic dialogue that is very very dull and then like overly punchy dialogue, like Tarantino films that borders on sort of too far. That finding that happy medium so it stands out and is one of a kind and interesting dialogue without being phony and too performative is tough, but it's kind of the goal here. So look at how these quick lines of dialogue in the O'Connor story here reveal each of the three women that it looks at: June Starr, the daughter, and the woman who owns this restaurant they go to, and the grandmother. June Starr stepped out onto the dance floor and did her tap routine. "Ain't she cute?" Red Sam's wife said, leaning over the counter. "Would you like to come be my little girl?" "No, I certainly wouldn't," June Starr said. "I wouldn't live in a broken down place like this for $1,000,000. And she ran back to the table. "Ain't she cute?" the woman repeated, stretching her mouth politely. "Aren't you ashamed?" hissed the grandmother. What's really smart about this is the way that O'Connor repeats that one line. That's all the woman ever says in the whole story. But in the way that she repeats herself, reveals so much about sort of who she is and what she has to do to keep customers happy. Then, of course, that damn grandmother. I love how she doesn't bother to put the E in there, as though it's like, I don't know, it's great. It's not a typo, surprisingly. And then from Eliot, this is an interesting moment that reveals a little bit more about how Prufrock is kind of self-indulgent in the way he wants to see himself. "I grow old, I grow old. I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to eat a peach? I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me." It's this huge contrast here. By what he's doing here is this whole like fanciful kind of, shall I be this youthful, vibrant young man and eat a peach? All these sort of weird old timey ways of being young. Ooh, white flannel trousers, all that stuff. And then this sort of weepy, self-loathing kind of like, I do not think that they will sing to me, right? And it's that sort of self-interruption, I think, that is kind of key to what's going on with Prufrock throughout the performance of this poem. The high diction and the sort of low, silly diction, I think, the mix of that. And then finally, character as thought or narration. If you've got a third-person narrator or something, you can just get into the head of your character and just give us what they're thinking at the time. It's the least vivid way of revealing character. It's not so much revealing as mostly just explaining. But, I mean, you can make it work at times, and sometimes it's your only option. Like here, early on in the O'Connor story, the grandmother didn't intend for the cat to be left alone in the house for 3 days because he would miss her too much, which is hilarious. And she was afraid he might brush against one of the gas burners and asphyxiate himself. Her son, Bailey, didn't like to arrive at a motel with the cat. It's a key, you'll find a key plot point, and then it's also a key sort of conflict between these characters that O'Connor could have revealed in dialogue and action, but by just giving it to us quickly, we get a bit about how the grandmother is crazy. Like this cat's going to miss her, right? I doubt it. This grandmother's awful. And this sort of weird, impossible thing that might happen about, not the house burning down, but the cat asphyxiating itself. So you get this little insight into her head, which reveals a sort of selfish and insane way of her thinking. So keep those in mind as you're reading these stories or the story in the poem, and we'll do some exercise and some work on revealing and developing characters on Tuesday. See you guys then.